Hi, I'm Roger Blohm, Executive Vice President at Telarus, and I'm coming to you live from Studio 19 from our headquarters in Sandy, Utah. We're thrilled to welcome Acree, Master Partner Director for Nextiva, who is going to be our UCAS sponsor for the greatest race to the summit. So Erin, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate you guys having me in.
You know, we're thrilled as we have figured out how to adapt and pivot to a new reality. One of the things we're doing is this greatest race. So the race to the summit is going to be a contest that will span 32 weeks, 2 legs, and you're going to be one of those main things. Could you tell us a little bit about why you're excited to help sponsor that kind of event?
I think it's great that you guys have had the adaptability to pivot based on what's going on in the world right now. I mean, you guys have been well known doing a lot of events, going out there educating, marketing, and realizing that right now, based on everything going on in the world, it's got to be a little different. And I think this is awesome in the gamification of being able to go out there and still having partners participate and feel a part of something that's bigger than themselves while still getting the education. So when I heard about this, probably about a month ago that you guys were talking about doing this, I jumped at the spot to be able to be that UCAS sponsor for you guys.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you. So Erin, we've known each other quite a while, and you've been in the channel probably longer than you want to admit, but I'm always thrilled to hear how people ended up where they're at and what they're doing. So can you just give me a little bit about your journey to Nextiva and why you believe that's the right place to be and what they bring?
Definitely. So I've been in the channel quite a long time, like you said. I've been to the point where I was an agent all the way up through being in the supplier side. And when I had the opportunity, I was at a CCAS company and started having conversations with the channel chief, Carl Katz, and just the opportunities that we had here and the direction that Nextiva is going. We're not just doing UCAS. It's something where just as of last month, we released our NextOS to the channel. And it's something where we believe that the platform that we've built on is very important to the culture here at Nextiva. We didn't want to make things difficult, and the core of that amazing service that we've trademarked is the fact that it has to be easy for that customer to do business with us. And so being able to be a piece of that and working with Telarus at the national level, it was just an easy decision for me to make.
It's great. Well, I remember one of the first events I went to with at Telarus was a Nextiva event, and they talked about this NextOS. Why don't you give me a few more details about what that means? What does that mean to a customer and to a partner?
So I think the very first thing that we talk about in terms of it of platform, right, is it's something that we've been building ourselves. We put millions, hundreds, up to $100 million in investment in it. We have developers working on it to make it better. But the reality is Nextiva started back in 2008, where they had an idea of we want to be able to let that small to mid-sized business be able to have the tools that maybe they couldn't afford that the Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 had. And so this is just kind of an extenuation of that, where the number one thing that customers need, or a company needs to have, is the ability to understand what their customers think of them right now, especially in a time where everyone's working from home, we have a lot less contact with people. What is the sentiment of that customer that they're selling to? Because the last thing you want to do as a customer is sell to someone who had a really bad experience last time. That's the worst time. You want to reach out and see, what can we do better? What happened? Why was that experience bad? On the flip side, if they had a really good experience, it might be a time to upsell or to talk to them about something new because they're in a good mood. And how does a company that's got 20, 50, 100 employees do that without spending a ton of money in a sales force or a proprietary system? So this is where NexoS comes in.
And NextOS is the piece that gives me that sentiment from those customers and the different pieces that allows me to plug into it.
So it's the platform of it, right? So we have a CRM portion of it, which is the customer relationship management tool. We have surveys that tie into it, and all this comes back together on our back-end platform. And so a customer has the ability to now say, okay, I've got a phone call. Do I want to take on a handset? Do I want to do it on my mobile app? That's what we call table stakes right now. Everyone can do it. There's not really any differentiation. But what goes into the next piece is, when I answer that call, what information do I have on the person who's talking to me? And NexoS, with the call pop that we have, gives them the basic information. It'll say customer name, it can give you account value, it'll give you the sentiment, what was that last interaction like, and that's where NexoS really comes into play.
It's powerful.
It's an amazing tool, and it's something where It's to the point right now where it's for that SMB market. We're not trying to displace the sales force today. But I'll tell you in the next few years, and this is where I get really excited, it's going to grow. And we keep improving it, and there's improvements coming out daily where we want to make that a better experience for our customers and help them along the way.
Any secret features you can share on this interview before you get you in trouble or whatever? But
I'm sure that there's quite a few secrets that I might give away. But I'll tell you one thing that's coming out in the next couple of weeks. By the time you guys see this, it'll probably actually already be out. Is the ability to have a wizard, a setup wizard. Because right now it's a manual process. But one of the things that we did before we launched, I mean, we've had this for 2 years. But what we didn't want to do was give it to partners who are a lot more critical and more demanding of a solution than maybe a direct sales team that's selling to a 5 or 6 seat person is doing. But one of the things that we did was we beta tested it with a few partners and said, here, play with it, break it, tell us what we need to do differently. Again, we have all these in-house developers that are making it different and upgrading it consistently, but what are the things that we should be doing versus just, hey, this is what we think should be done. And the very first thing that they came out with was, hey, we need a way to upload if we have a contact database already, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or it's coming from a smaller CRM or something that maybe we tried to do on our own, 5-10 years ago because our wife's cousin had a programmer in the family and they built us a CRM. Well, there's no updates to that. There's no ways to make that better. We want to have a way to be able to migrate that information over. So that's coming out here, and by the time this video hits, it's going to be a lot closer, if not already out.
So let's talk about the Race to the Summit for just a minute. We're thrilled that you're going to be one of our category sponsors in UCAS. You're one of the first suppliers to define their leg, and as you know, there can be different kinds of contests and legs and different things. So let's talk a little bit about that. One of the things that you're going to get points for is watching this video. Mm-hmm. One of the other things they want us to do is quote Unity. So tell us a little bit about your Unity product.
Yeah, so one of the things that's happened in the last month is we had just an explosion of new product releases. Probably more product releases in the last month than we've had in the last 2 to 3 years. So one of the things that we're really focusing on is the ability to go up market. And as you go up market, you're needing to have more of a contact center play. But not everyone needs the full-blown contact center that you might find from the name brand folks, which I won't give a plug for them here. But the fact that they still need to have that ability to have, whether it's omni-channel, talking through chat, whatever, that's where Unity really comes in. And it's something where we've tied it into the fact where it's a more cost-effective price point, but it still gives you a lot of the things that you may need. It's not going to have the WFM, but it does have that ability to go in and have multi-channel. It's able to have supervisors being able to listen in, barge in, et cetera. So a lot of the things that you would expect from a contact center play, but not at the highest price point. And so that's really where Unity Contact Center, we want people to see what it is versus just say, oh yeah, it's great, and then move on to the next one. At the end of the day, partners have that ability to be best of breed, but sometimes you don't necessarily need to go for the full Cadillac if the customer's needs are met by Unity. So
that's great. And I know that one of the other parts of the contest is a local channel manager call, right? Mm-hmm. So first of all, where are you guys headquartered?
So we're headquartered in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's really nice this time of year. Not really. It's going to get really, really, really hot real fast.
It's getting right to the edge of nice now.
Correct.
As it gets hotter.
But so we're headquartered in Arizona, but we have channel managers throughout the region. So we have as far up in the Northeast, Boston area, upstate New York. We have people in the Pacific Northwest down to SoCal. Have a couple actually in Florida, channel managers. So we want to have presence where our partners are at, and we want to make sure they're supported there locally.
That's great. So you've got a team across the country that are going to take those calls and help drive this race forward and get that figured out. We're going to help them quote Unity and some of your other products. Any other products they should be focused on quoting? So
the other thing we said is the contact center piece, but sometimes again you don't necessarily need a contact center. It's the advanced IVR, and so that can be something. A case study we said is being able to outbound call and get a message out. So when schools come back to session, they're going to have a need to say, hey, if something happens, we need to alert parents. Or doctor's office need to say, we need to get an information blast out because something happened that they didn't know about. We actually, about a month ago, we had a customer that came to us. It was a nursing home facility, and they said, we found out that we had a COVID infection, and we need to let everyone know that contact tracing type situation, we got to blast this out. They came to us on a Sunday, and within 4 hours, we had it set up so they were able to blast out to every single person that had come in contact. I mean, it's a life or death situation at that point.
It is a life or death.
And hopefully, that's not the use case you use all the time, but those are the type of things that the advanced IVR is able to do. And it's really nice in the fact that it's very cost competitive in terms of I don't have to have a ton of equipment. It's a small monthly cost, and I can get those contacts out. And that's why we want people to try that out. Get a quote, see what it looks like, find out use cases for your customer base, and we'd love to help you with that. And that's really where we want you to have that conversation with the channel manager, because they're there to help you. They're the ones that are going to sell hand in hand with you, or sell to your customers for you, whichever you prefer.
What is your sweet spot on size? You mentioned company size a couple of times. What's the ideal? And I know there's never an ideal, but as you look at where you do fit well, you mentioned SMB once. Mm-hmm. What is the size of the majority of your customers?
So I would say right now the majority of our customers are in that SMB market. That's probably what we're most well known for, and that's where NexoS really comes in and plays well to that. However, as companies grow, as we've seen in the UCaaS space, the larger companies are starting to adopt to those, as you well know, enterprises are now moving over to UCaaS, and especially in lieu of what's going on in the world today, everyone's like, oh crap, I got to figure out how to do this because we can't work necessarily with all these on-prem. So we're also stepping into that enterprise space, and we've brought in a lot of different solutions to help encapsulate that. So the hard part, we don't ever want to say we're everything to everyone because we're not. But at the end of the day, we have product sets that help both that SMB and moving up market as well.
You've mentioned the current state of the world today a couple of times. I think it's interesting to watch how companies react. I've been pleasantly surprised at the willingness to work with people and go through that. What did Nextiva do to help their employees as they went into a massive movement to work from home moment?
Well, so it hit us just like everyone else, right? It was one of those things where we had a very large office building in Arizona. We actually are building a campus there as well. So it's something where having the office building has been very important to us because you have that culture that you're able to grow. But at the same time, right away our leadership said we need to make sure we're taking care of our employees. So within a week, we were able to disperse over 600 people that were in that Scottsdale office to working from home. Now, as with everyone else, we had hiccups along the way in terms of, oh my gosh, we need laptops or webcams or all the different things that they weren't really expected to do. But the great part was our support, our sales, everything was able to stay connected because of the Nextiva, because we eat our own dog food.
And no outages, no problems taking care of customers. You enabled them to move home as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those customers all were able to move. That's great.
That's one of the best things in terms of network resiliency is the fact that how we built our network was to make sure that we were up, because unified communication as a service, it don't matter how great your product is, if it doesn't work, it doesn't really matter. And so we've built that resiliency, so yes, knock on wood, no outages, and we're focused on keeping that up.
I was lucky enough to have dinner with Tracy a few years ago, and we were talking, and you could tell that the culture at Nextiva was impressive. It was not something, he was very proud of it, mm-hmm. and worked very hard to make sure that it was maintained. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the culture there of just being an employee there and how it feels to be employed by Nextiva?
I think the number one thing is, again, we trademarked amazing service. We are 100% behind that. We have people, we bleed Nextiva. They want to do the right thing. And again, the empowerment you have, even at the local level, not having to get up to a manager or director or EVP to get something fixed, they want to make it right. And so I think that's where the culture really breeds. We've had multiple awards, 2020 Best UCaaS Provider, we had Glassdoor Best Places to Work. Those are the type of things, and the people there really do make the difference. At the end of the day, as we all know in the industry, there's a lot of people that might change jobs, but where people and partners go are with people they trust. And the fact that we have an all-star cast there, we've got some amazing people at that company, and that shines through.
And then partners feel the same way, right? So I just a little bit of the experience partners have coming into that, mirroring with that culture.
Well, I mean, again, there's partners that they'll wear the expert, or they're all in. We have one of our customers, the Buffalo Bills and the Sabres, the two pro teams up in New York, and their mascot and our mascot, have little videos. And so it's something where we want it to be fun, because at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? Like you make it more work than it has to be. But partners just love getting in, and they love to see the engagement that they'll have. Again, whether it's onboarding, whether it's customer success, whether it's the channel manager themselves. We want to make sure that we're a part of that, and that comes through just in the day-to-day. You can't fake that.
That's great. Let's talk about some predictions, right? So we're all trying to figure out what's going to happen next. Are you hearing noise out of your customer base or maybe out of your employees about working from home longer or staying home? We just went through the biggest case study of all time, right?
Yeah. So I think there's going to be a mixed bag. I think the greatest part, and I keep saying the greatest, but I think one of the big parts is the flexibility to be able to work from home when necessary. There's going to be a lot of people that can't wait to get back to the office. They want to get away from the house, they need that separation, and they want to be able to go to the water cooler and talk about sports that are happening once they start happening again. They want to talk about the latest episode of Netflix or whatever's going on. Then there's other people that are like, oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Like, I get so much more done. Having been in the industry and worked from home almost my entire 15 years, I'm used to it. It's not anything different. But if I had that taken away, it would be hard. So these people that have seen now what it can be like, I think there's a lot of people that'll start adapting that, at least part-time. There's nothing I think that'll take away. I mean, this is the reason I wanted to come into the office. I think this is so much a better experience having that personal connection than a video call ever could give. But that doesn't mean it's one or the other. I think you're going to have that mixture come back, and it's going to be interesting to see the companies that are able to handle that the best.
Erin, you've been a friend of Telarus for a long time. You've at a couple other companies, but we're thrilled to have you manage our relationship. Can you tell us what the magic or the power is of the Nextiva Telarus partnership?
Sure. So last year, our fiscal year going from July to June, Telarus was the largest seller in terms of master agents. And so at the end of the day, it shows the power of the Telarus Nextiva relationship. I've had great relationships from the SPDM level, PSM level, all the way up through EVP and your co-founders. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the people. Just like the culture at Nextiva, the great people we have there, you guys have amazing people that work at Telarus that really make this relationship click.
Thank you, and we feel the same. I think everybody's trying to figure out what the new normal is going to be, right? And this idea, is it a recession? Is it not a recession? What's going to happen? What are you seeing in the terms of big deals or deals just continuing to flow? You would think that UCaaS would be one of those areas that people need to deal with and focus on, but are you seeing that pattern continue?
For sure. So you definitely have those partners where you have some slowness happening. People are kind of waging their bets on when will this get better, when will it not? But we've seen an influx of these bigger deals as companies are looking forward to how that new normal will look and what's the things that they need to have to be successful in it. What happens if there's a second wave? What do we do then? How do we have that preparedness so that they're better prepared this time than they were beforehand?
It's great to hear that things are still moving and going forward, and hopefully we can get through this as a public and society. As we wrap up and get ready to go, if there were 3 key takeaways that a partner would remember after they watch this video, what would those 3 kind of anchor or tenet learning points be?
So the number one thing I'd say is the platform. There's a lot of noise in the UCaaS space, and we're very well aware of that. At the end of the day, you want to look at the platform that's being built, and Nextiva, we feel that we've built a very strong platform. That ties into the next part of it is our network. Again, we talked about earlier, the end of the day, it's great if your products and services are amazing, but if they don't work, it doesn't really matter. So having that core and that strength of being up, and again, the plug for the Trusted Sky, we're one of those ones that we love using that because it shows how strong that our network is. And then the third, it comes down to is we're moving into those bigger opportunities. Take a look at it, look at building that solution. I mean, solution provider is kind of one of those terms, or trusted advisor. You need to be able to know where your customers' needs are and how to build that. And I really think that's something we're very focused on, and you'll see that based on the product releases we've had recently.
That's great to hear. Well, again, thank you for being our UCaaS category sponsor for the Race to the Summit. We're going to have some fun with that and try to change the way the rest of this year went. Hopefully we can come out of this and all be healthy and happy and safe.